Hey folks, thanks for tuning in to another episode of BevNet's Elevator Talk Livestream. I'm Ray Latif, the editor and producer of BevNet's Taste Radio podcast, the #1 podcast for the food and beverage industry. Over the next 45 minutes or so, we're going to be chatting with entrepreneurs representing some of the most emerging and innovative brands across the country and chatting with them about news and new products related to their brands. Joining me this episode is Carrie Padriana, who is the co-founder and CEO of Green Spoon, a full-service brokerage based out of Boulder, Colorado. Kari, how are you? Kari, you're muted.
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great, Thank you so much for joining us. As I mentioned, you are the co-founder and CEO of Green Spoon, a broker that is based out of Boulder. Tell me a little bit about the company, how you guys got started, and where you are right now in terms of your growth and the size of your company.
Yeah, we started about 9 years ago. My husband came from the industry. He had about a decade of experience working at retail. He also worked for a national brokerage, and then he also was a VP of a manufacturer in the space. And I had the marketing background. We had friends here in Boulder that were launching brands and asking like, hey, do you want to get out on the weekend, do some demos? I'm like, sure, why not? So I never had done those before. I went to Target, bought a $29 table, and kind of the rest is history, to be honest. I did about 50 demos a month. It was crazy. Had a lot of fun doing that, built a lot of relationships at store level. My husband's company at the time was going through a transition. So we had an idea of starting a new kind of brokerage, just like kind of start something fresh, bring new life to it. We just felt like a new culture could just do something different. So we went to Whole Foods here in the Rocky Mountain, knocked on the door and asked them like, hey, would you guys be willing to just let us like shoot some ideas around brokerages and what you like, what you don't, how can we do it better? And they were awesome. They put their arms around us. I mean, they were just great. Tom Rich, I just want to call out him because he's been a huge mentor of mine. And then we kind of just built a team here in the Rockies and went really well. And I just had that, that energy in me. I just want to keep going. So we went region by region by region by region, and we finished the 9th region about a year ago. So we are national now.
Amazing stuff. $29 table at Target. That's how you get started?
Yep, that's all the money I had in my pocket for that. So that's how I started.
Amazing stuff. Well, really happy to have you on the Elevator Talk live stream. And as mentioned, you're going to be offering some perspective from the perspective, you're going to be offering some feedback from the perspective of a broker / merchandiser. Once again, for folks who are just tuning in, this is the latest episode of BevNet's Elevator Talk Livestream. I'm Ray Latif, joined by Kari Padriana, co-founder and CEO of Green Spoon. Kari, you ready to get started and chat with our first guest of the show?
I'm ready.
Fantastic. That is Will Holsworth, who's the CEO of the Safe and Fair Company. Will, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you guys?
Great to see you. Safe and Fair, I love the name. What is it that you guys do?
So we make food that's safe for millions and millions of people who happen to have food allergies. And we make food that's fairly priced for those folks. And we fundamentally believe that folks should have access to clean label food at a fair price. And so that's what we do. I have children that, believe it or not, range from 27 down to 5 months. And yeah, I know. How about that, Ray? I'd be better if I lived in LA. It wouldn't be as weird, but in Chicago it is. So, but I think all of them, and I have 2 stepsons and 4 biological children, and I think all of them should be able to buy fair, clean label food at a fair price. So that's what we do.
Clean label food. It's also focused on a particular segment of our industry, which is allergen friendly as well. Yeah. Talk about how you incorporate that into your positioning in your products.
Well, so the 2 co-founders of this business, Pete Najarian and Dave Lair, had children that have profound or any anaphylactic reaction to food is profound, right? So they have children that are peanut and tree nut allergic. And so what we did, they had a cookie business that they asked me to talk to them about. And what we decided to do was kind of transform a cookie business into a business that offered a panoply of food that was really good, right? So one of the challenges I found now, I'm fortunate that none of my children have food allergies, right? But I have a deep understanding of this through Dave and Pete, even kids that I coach throughout the years that have it. And it's terrifying for parents that, you know, a micron of a protein could send their child into anaphylactic shock. And that's binary. You're either in it or you're not. It actually could be fatal every time. It's most of the time it isn't, but it's terribly scary, and it's hospital and EpiPen. And so as I started to understand more and more about what those families dealt with, and then I looked at the allergy space for food, it's amazing how much people charge for the privilege of eating food that's safe for their family. And so I fundamentally don't think that's right, nor do we as a board and our investors. And so what we tried to do was make really great tasting food that was simple and obvious and understandable and a very fair price for folks, because part of what we thought we would do is kids that have food allergies in particular, you know, they're kind of segregated, which isn't a good idea in any way, right? They have to eat at their own table, and then they have to eat food that looks different. They have to eat food that's more expensive and oftentimes doesn't taste very good. And we thought, well, why would that be? And so that's how we embarked on, and that's actually what safe means. And so we make food that's free of most allergens. We're really clear about that. We don't want there to be any opacity to our product, because again, for food allergic families, this is the gravity of this issue is, you know, something that would be hard for a non-food allergic person to even speak to.
Mm-hmm. You have a new product line out there, popcorn line. Could you talk about your product line as a whole? I mean, what kind of things you guys make and market?
Yeah, so we only make food that actually tastes great, right? So sometimes I have food and I'm like, but this doesn't taste very good. And it's just shocking to me why anybody would do that, right? So we make food that tastes really, really good, right? And so if I feel like there's a category that we can make great tasting food at a fair price, we'll approach that category. So the largest part of our business right now is granola. And we have birthday cake granola, which was in Costco all over the place, and Target. We'll be in 2,700 Walmarts, 1,500 Kroger's. We have a really great online business. And then we launched drizzled popcorn. And we just launched strawberry shortcake. So we launched flavors too that I think are both interesting and understandable. So you probably have never heard of or seen strawberry shortcake drizzled popcorn before, but you immediately know what it is. And then we go to great pain to make sure that when, like, this is $5 a bag, and it's a super full bag, and it tastes really good, and there's drizzle on every kernel. And we've launched key lime pie popcorn and granola. We launched actually blueberry cobbler a la mode popcorn. We launched it in birthday cake. And then we did the same thing in granolas. And so we make those. We also make mixes, we make cookies, and then we have a really strong kind of back half innovation, getting into several new categories and several new flavor profiles. Last year, we had Honeycrisp apple pie granola, which is super terrific. And Kari, if you go look on our Instagram, you'll see me standing in the Gallatin River throwing it, Montana, because we launched it right when I was out there. So we brought it with us. My wife's family's had a home in Big Sky forever. I saw that you went to the University of Montana.
I did go to Montana, yes.
We love Montana.
Me too.
And so, and then we launched chocolate candy cane and gingerbread for Christmas or the holidays. And then we had actually white chocolate raspberry and chocolate covered cherry for Valentine's Day. So we're good seasonally. But what we find from our consumers is people ask us to keep those flavors around for a long time. So we introduce a new flavor about every 6 to 8 weeks, actually.
Wow. A lot to unpack here. Kari, you know, in terms of popcorn, the sweet and savory aspect that Will is talking about, and, you know, just the innovation that is coming out of Safe and Fair, you see this as being sort of an easy sell to a Whole Foods, to other retailers in the natural set?
I do. I mean, I agree. There's not a lot of sweet going on in popcorn. There's a lot of savory. I think it definitely has appeal to, like, especially me. I'm like, get me one. I want to try one of those bags right away. That strawberry sounds awesome. But I do think there's a need for that, because there is just the caramel corn, the traditional stuff. So I think that could bring a lot of life to the category. I'm excited about it.
Thank you.
In terms of the positioning, allergen friendly, you know, Will talked about how important that is to the company. Is that something that's really resonating with a broader audience, or is that something that's still kind of a niche market in most grocery stores and even within the natural channel?
I do think it is niche. I do think that it's, there's more people that are going towards allergen friendly, but you do want to, you do want to appeal to all consumers. And I do notice on your packaging that it's not like prominent on there. It's on your front package, but it's not the main focus. I think you have vegan on your packaging and other things as well, which I love that you guys don't just call only allergen friendly out, so it appeals to more people. So I think you're marketing it perfectly.
Well, thank you very much. We spent a lot of time on that topic. Ray, so there's about 16 million people in America that have food allergies, growing at about 20% a year. We have a relationship with Stanford University, which is considered the world's leading food allergy research institute. And so we kind of get our data from Stanford. And one of the products we are going to launch, we developed some of the probiotics with Stanford. And so we're acutely aware of what's happening in food allergies. But Kari, to your point, what's interesting is if you happen to be food allergic because you've been kind of conditioned to have very average and expensive food for a long period of time, a lot of people don't come to us from, hey, we have allergy food. What we have is we have a great influencer ambassador group. There are women that are kind of thoughtful, good cooks, smart. My wife's actually one of them. And when they talk about our food, folks that have food allergies will try it. And then we're kind of a magical thing for them because their kids get to get food that by the way, their family will hear it. My family always is arguing about this. It used to be we had to buy this for my son, and now everybody wants this popcorn, for instance, which is a very flattering place to be, right, for a family and for a child that's struggled with food.
We have about a minute left. Will, I wanted to ask you, what are the retailers that you're in right now? You mentioned a couple.
We're going to be in 2,700 Walmarts. We'll be in 1,500 Kroger's. We're in Hy-Vee. We're in several Costco divisions today. We're about to finalize a deal with a major C-store chain. You can go to SafeandFair.com and get our full complement of products, and that's where you'll find our innovation first. We'll be in Safeway divisions. And so
are you in Whole Foods?
What's that?
Are you in Whole Foods?
You're not.
Interesting. So Kari, from your perspective, that's kind of an interesting dynamic where you're going from conventional retailers and what's that like? I mean, have you seen that often, and is it difficult for brands that have such a solid footprint in conventional to get into a Whole Foods?
I mean, I come from natural, so we always started in the natural channel and built up that way. And the natural retailers, are giving newer lines, some a little bit more leeway. There's not a lot of slotting fees and other fees around that. You can kind of get started at a regional level with some of those bigger retailers. It is a little harder to go backwards, kind of conventional to natural, but it does happen. So I think if you just keep innovating and bring and just have really clean labels, get some certifications too, organic certifications. I don't know if you guys are right now, or non-GMO or any of that.
We are non-GMO. We're not organic. By the way, we don't pay any slotting fees. That's one of the things that
That's awesome.
As you know, right, you have to be a very expensive proposition for a smaller business with potentially zero returns. So our head of sales is a guy that used to work for me for Pepsi, who's as good as anyone I know, and he's a very dogged guy. So we have a lot of old relationships. We feel fortunate to be able to be in the places that we're going to be in.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, traditionally it is a little more difficult, but it happens.
Sure.
And you can also create lines that are specifically for natural, that are more, that's another way to do it. I love the taste and the flavor profiles you guys have. They're really fun, and I think that's appealing to kids that that have allergen issues. So I mean, if I was a kid, I'd be all over those flavors. It's really appealing to other things on the market that are maybe not as appealing to kids. So I think that you guys are definitely on the right path here.
By the way, we're in all 225 super targets as well. And those folks we're in a dialogue with them about creating exclusive flavors because people like that idea. And we have a wonderful I have two women named Jessica. We call them the Super Jessicas. One is our head of R&D and the other one is our head of brand design. So I kind of blurt something out, and one makes it taste great and the other one makes it look great. And that's how we are able to innovate as quickly as we are.
Outstanding. Will, thank you so much for joining us on the live stream. Really appreciate it. And I'm really looking forward to opening this bag. Kari, I'm sorry I'm making you join right now.
I can't wait to hear what you guys think. Thank you for your interest in Safe and Fair. It's a real privilege for us to be able to share our story with you guys today.
Well, it's a privilege to have you on the live stream. Thanks so much, and please stay in touch.
Right on, guys. Peace.
Right on. All right, that was Will Holsworth, who's the CEO of the Safe and Fair Company. Let's move on to our next guest of the live stream, who is Brianna Makarick, who is the CEO and founder of BRITE Bites. Brianna, how are you?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. BRITE Bites, BRITE Bites. What do you guys do?
Yes, so at BRITE Bites, we believe that simple foods should be delicious, and we make simple foods convenient into gluten and dairy-free snack bites that are packed with probiotics. So we get that taking a day is not something that's convenient or tasty. And so actually 2 bites is your daily serving of probiotics to support your immune system and your digestive health. We know that there's so much research linked to good gut health and how that actually works with your brain in conjunction together. And we're all about making that affordable and convenient for our consumers.
Interesting. Did you start with the concept of creating a probiotic enriched bite, or did it start from the other ingredients that you have in your products, which include organic chia, pumpkin seeds, etc.?
So it actually started with the probiotic because I was taking a probiotic in a pill form for years and really helped my digestion, but it wasn't easy and I just didn't feel my best. Being just graduated from college, I was playing sports in high school and very active. I wanted something that I could get my food from, and your body actually absorbs those nutrients easier when you're taking it in rather than a pill form.
And where are your products sold, and what's the retail price on them?
Yeah, so we are based in Michigan. We've launched for about a year and a half locally in Michigan. We're on BriteBites.com, Amazon, and then natural grocery stores only in Michigan at the time, as well as university campus stores. These retail for anywhere from $9.99 to $11.99. There's actually 5 servings in here. And then we have a fun snack size. It's not a bar. It's actually 4 mini bites inside.
And in terms of day part use, I'm assuming it's for snacking. It's not really a meal replacement, even though you have the bar, right? The bar that could be, I guess someone could use as a meal replacement.
Yes, we don't recommend it's a meal replacement. They're only ranging per serving from 120 to 140 calories. So not sufficient enough for a meal, but that great bridge snack or on-the-go breakfast.
Gotcha. Kari, your thoughts on BRITE Bites? I mean, we're seeing so many more bite products come to market. Probiotics are as hot as they'll ever be, or they're pretty darn hot right now. Thoughts about the positioning and the branding?
Yeah, I mean, this would be kind of functional snacking in that set. So, I mean, because you are in the gusseted bag, so typically retailers will put you in that functional snack. I think that it's just as far as like the bag, I think that you can probably use some of that real estate as well and just call out some more of those things that you're talking about, like, probiotics, what kind, or, how much, or you said the 5 servings. I can't really see your bag close up, but
yep.
Yeah, so I feel like that you could call some more of those things out on the front too that just are appealing to the consumer. The price point is a little high, but you're probably going to work on that as you get into distribution and you get things, cost of goods goes down for you, which is great because, starting out it's going to be a little higher. But I think it fits right in that functional snacking category. Like, grab and go is really important right now for people. Like, everyone's on the move. So I think that positioning is really well done.
Thank you. Sorry, yes, definitely working on a few things.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Brianna. What are some of the few things that you're working on, if you can share, or is it still under wraps right now?
Yeah, so we actually, throughout all this, launched a new product line, and this is a DIY make your own kit. So we're realizing that so many people were cooking at home, banana bread and sourdough became all the craze. And we realized that it's really important to be cooking as a family and get your kids involved. So people can make their own bites at home. They just add in a nut butter and a sweetener. And we've had creations from s'mores to birthday cake, adding in sprinkles. And that way they're no bake and the kids can easily dump the package in, add a few ingredients and roll them or place them into bars. And so it's been really fun to see what people are coming up with.
Kari, how do you determine, given, as I mentioned, all the new bite products coming to market, how do you evaluate these products and these brands? And is BriteBite sort of ahead of the curve in terms of what they're offering versus the, other brands coming to market?
I mean, for us at Green Spoon, like we really look at products, we really look at the people behind the brand. It's really important for us to culturally align with your broker to make sure that you guys just are on the same page. And then we're looking at product taste profiles is important. We all we get samples here, we all eat them and give feedback, and we have a lot of fun with that. So it has to be a good product. Obviously, taste is really important, and then price point is really important for us, for our retailers, because it's it's competitive. The shelves are competitive, and it has to have a nice price point on there. If it's too high, it just won't move as much. Especially now, people are being a little bit more cautious with spend. So that's how we look at brands. It's just kind of a whole package for us. And so if this brand came into into our offices, I would say that, packaging, just like dialing in some of those messaging on the package, and then price point, working on getting that down. Trial for you, I'm sure, is important to have consumers try your product. So I'm sure before COVID, you were probably doing more demos and such. It gets a little harder.
All the time.
Yeah. So that's really important to get trial. I know a lot of our brands are, dropping off individual snack sizes to stores to hand out to consumers, or like have that instead, or, offering a free sample on their website and just ship it to customers too. But I think that, it's starting in your home turf and really owning your home market and just really building that up and having that solid foundation is like really what you should focus on right now. It's really important to have that solid foundation before you start moving into more markets.
Outstanding advice. We have about a minute left, and I'd love to go back to the DIY kit. In terms of merchandising, that's two different parts of the store, right, Kari?
That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, how does that work for you, Brianna? I mean, are you looking to do the DIY product a little bit more at this point as a direct-to-consumer product, or are you talking to retailers about getting two different products in two different parts of the store?
We're focusing on the DIY kit just directly to consumer at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to try that out. It's a pretty interesting concept. I imagine it gets a little messy, but maybe you offer tips on your website and on Instagram as well.
Yes, exactly. Tips, and kids love the mess. They don't care. Their parents clean it up anyways, but it's really fun because it shows them, the power of ingredients, like what they're putting into it, and they can seeds are, what cacao nibs are, and then they start to get that into their diets rather than just going for a typical cookie.
Yeah, kids for sure don't care, but the parents definitely do. Trust me. So, all right. Brianna, thank you so much for joining us in the Elevator Talk live stream. Really appreciate it. And good luck with everything going forward.
Thanks so much for having me. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you. All right, folks, if you're just tuning in, you're watching BevNet's Elevator Talk live stream. I'm Ray Latif, the editor and producer of BevNet's Taste Radio podcast. I'm joined by Kari Pedriana, the co-founder and CEO of Green Spoon, a full-service brokerage based in Boulder, Colorado. All right, up next is Evan Hafer, who is the CEO and founder of Black Rifle Coffee Company. Evan, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Doing great as well. Evan is also a former Green Beret. Thank you so much for your service to our country. It's very much appreciated. Black Rifle Coffee, I'm pretty familiar with the brand, but I'm not sure how familiar our audience is. Can you tell us a little bit about what you guys do?
Sure. I started the company about 5 years ago. I was a Green Beret, as you mentioned. Then I worked for the CIA for a number of years, about 9 years. Not the Culinary Institute of America, the other one. And what I found was there really wasn't a great subscription coffee provider for what I feel is, the more patriotic crowd. And when I say that, we serve coffee to people that love America. That's a mission statement. So we get up to do every day. 20 years of service with multiple deployments, give or take about 4.5 years in Iraq and a couple years in Afghanistan. What I found was I wanted a premium small batch coffee roaster that delivered me coffee on a cadence that I was happy with, that also believed in the same type of American values that I did. So I started the company in my garage, started roasting coffee 1 pound at a time in a little air roaster. And that was 5 years ago. It was basically me and my wife. My wife was a barista in Denver for a number of years. I was actually working out of Boulder, Colorado at the time. And yeah, exactly. I was, And now we've got just about 250 people in the company. We've been able to launch multiple different products. I think I have probably the largest direct-to-consumer coffee subscription in the nation, give or take. That's kind of what we've been able to figure out. And then we've been able to also include ready-to-drink coffee to mainly C-stores. This year I partnered with Bass Pro Cabela's, so they're a big partner of ours, which they're the most successful outdoor retailer in the history of outdoor retailing. So we couldn't ask for a better partnership. We won the Daytona 400 this year with them. Like we're doing a lot, to include about 1.2 billion impressions in the previous trailing 8 months, and then scheduled to do 2.5 billion impressions, give or take, this year. So we've been able to kind of grow exponentially utilizing social media, direct consumer market space, pay homage to our veteran service. And really, people ask me that all the time. Well, where did you come up with Black Rifle as a name? And it's like, well, that's my service rifle. That's what I started carrying. That's what I carried for 20 years. It really wasn't a sophisticated process. My branding didn't require a lot of consultants. It was just me roasting coffee on the back tailgate of an F-150 thinking, yeah, I've got my rifle. I like to roast coffee. Let's just combine those two things.
Well, there you go. And it sounds like it's been pretty successful since. In front of you, you got the new products, the new ready-to-drink espresso coffee products. How long have they been on the market? And how much of your business do you expect to be ready-to-drink coffee versus your bag coffee?
Right now, we released these coffees at the beginning of the year in a small test run through a combination of distributors. So we had to kind of unpack and organize that. I brought in a co-CEO, Tom Davin, who was a former president of Panda Express, a former CEO of 511 Tactical. He's been at PepsiCo, a few other places, to help me out. And when we started rolling out this product, I think we've scheduled about 10,000 convenience stores for July, August, give or take. So we've been able to work with Walmart on a large scale national level. CVS, we've got a deal locked in with CVS, and a lot of convenience stores at this point, kind of a bunch of convenience stores out there that I didn't really know until I started looking through the list. And you're like, wow, these guys have 800 stores. I would have never guessed. So we've been really successful at pitching the product, working through our distributors, and really being able to focus on serving the coffee to people that we really feel is our target demo. And what I did in this is I didn't like the current RTD in the way that not necessarily the way it was displayed, but the amount of sugar that was in the RTD, the amount of creamer and sugar. There's too much sweetness, not enough coffee. So I punched up the coffee, reduced the sugar, added more protein, a few other things. So we've been able to create I think a market differentiating product that people like, where it's not as sweet, because that's kind of where we're just not as sweet. That's the brand.
Currently, I don't know if these are products that Kari would be able to carry because they do have some artificial ingredients. Right. But if they were to remove the artificial ingredients, Kari, what are your thoughts on Black Rifle? And in terms of being a mission-based company, mission-based brand, how does that fit into your perspective as a broker and thinking about bringing new products and brands into your portfolio?
I mean, mission-based is huge. I mean, especially these days, we're all trying to do better for the world. So I haven't seen a new product yet. I did look at your website. Is that called out on the front, like supporting our troops, or like where
yeah. It's directly connected to our mission statement. So we've even thought about reclassifying the company as a benefits corp versus S corp. So it's called out a lot. We work with dozens of nonprofits this year. I'm working with a lot of adaptive athletes, specifically combat wounded veterans that have lost limbs in direct conflict. So we've been able to give back. I think this year we're scheduled to give back over $1 million in straight cash donations to multiple different organizations.
That's awesome. Are you looking to go more into grocery? Or are you happy to direct to consumer? Okay.
Yeah, I like my direct to consumer placement. And the reason for that is because of slotting fees, because of, grocery. I've had a lot of complex conversations with large scale or large national grocers. And, at the end of the day, we understand where the power of the brand is. We understand what the power of the marketing does. And I've continued to grow the subscription side of the business. I think we're up at 138%, give or take, right? So for me, I'm maxing capacity even within our own roasting facilities, just fulfilling my subscription and direct to consumer side of the business. In order to pull in a grocery, I think we'd really have to try to figure that out, because there's somewhat of a reduction of quality and expectation that you're going to have to sacrifice price. Well, I have direct connection relationships with a lot of farmers, so I'm very concerned with the level of coffee that we're providing to the consumer, whether or not it's organic and shade grown. Is one conversation because of the labeling, but it's really connecting to the farmers and understanding what type of sustainable farming practices they have, what type of labor practices they have, what type of labor practices they're exercising every day. Because you can look at a label, but that doesn't tell you the entire story of what's happening on the farm itself.
Well, it's interesting because what you were just talking about, Evan, in terms of sustainability and, thinking about the farmers who are growing the coffee, are really important attributes to consumers in the natural channel. Given the opportunity that you have right now with, so many people knowing about Black Rifle Coffee and the fact that you do market organic coffee beans, do you see a path, into a Whole Foods at some point? Or is your branding just, not right for that retailer or that channel?
No, I do definitely see a pathway to that. And, I think that we do a lot specifically with the farmers and sustainability and labor practices, right? That's a really pointed focus and mission specifically with the company. And I think I have to, one, educate my consumer on what it means and what the actual labels mean, because people can purchase the label and they understand that they're going to pay a premium price for that. However, in a lot of these countries, those labels are awash with misrepresentation, we'll say. So I think that when I directly connect with the farmers and people can see where their coffee is grown and how important it is to buy coffee at a premium price, they have to buy it above the commodities pricing. And the reason for that is it's an ethically sound business practice connected to the consumer all the way to the farmer, with the company being essentially in the middle, right? And that's not me. I'm trying not to be on the soapbox, right? But we really do have to do a better job at educating consumer on what these labels mean, because you can have an organic farm that can't afford the organic label. And it's more important to me to make sure that we have sustainable, ethical labor practices, that people aren't using child labor, for instance, in some of these farms, that they have long-term sustainability and employment, than it is to carry somewhat of an arbitrary label, right? So people need to know their farm. I really just, I try to beat that drum every day, like know your farm, connect to your farmers. So I do see a path forward to that, to answer your question. But I also think that it's about educating the consumer as how important it is.
Well, Evan, it's been so great having you on the live stream. It's amazing to talk to you and see the passion for your company and for your brand and for our country. So thank you so much for all three. And it's interesting. One other quick note: at the beginning of our call, our technical director asked you what you had for breakfast this morning. You said you didn't have any breakfast this morning, which is kind of amazing that you're even still sitting upright, because I couldn't do that. So your coffee must have some kind of kick or something going on with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely appreciate the opportunity to talk about Black Rifle, even though I didn't have breakfast. That's kind of a daily occurrence. But I'm super passionate about the product and the company, and I could be happier to be on the show. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please stay in touch.
Okay.
All right. That was Evan Hafer, who's the founder and CEO of Black Rifle Coffee. Let's move on to our next guest of the show, who is Ryan Fortwendell, who is the founder and chief innovation officer of Minna. Ryan, how are you?
Doing well. Thanks, Ray. How are you?
I'm doing great. Great to hear from you again. We chatted a couple different times. You were participated in our New Beverage Showdown 17 competition at BevNet Live Summer 2019.
Yes.
And it's just been growth and even more growth since. Folks who aren't familiar, didn't get to watch the showdown, tell us a bit about Minna.
Yes, thanks. And Kari, nice to meet you as well. I've heard a lot of great things from David Clark, our sales director, who loves you. So nice to meet you as well.
You too.
So yes, for everyone who's watching who's not familiar, Minna, we are an organic, unsweetened sparkling tea company that we just launched last year. And we launched with our first 3 SKUs, which are lime hibiscus rooibos tea, citrus black tea, and a tropical green tea. We're wanting to bring that sparkling velocity to the tea set with very, again, bright, very millennial packaging that kind of pops off the shelves. All of our products are organic, they're non-GMO, with no sugar or added sweeteners, and a good amount of carbonation to really make them pop. We really wanted to make a beverage that not only tastes delicious and amazing, but also one that the consumer could trust. The company name is Japanese for Everyone, and we donate 1% of our sales to nonprofits advocating for inclusion.
Outstanding. And you have a new flavor, which I have over here. Before I show it, why don't you tell us a bit? Oh, there, you got it too. Okay.
Yeah, I have this as well. So this is our 4th SKU. We just launched this last week. This was really inspired, a little nostalgic for myself. Growing up, I was really obsessed with cherry soda, but I often didn't get to have it because of the sugar content. So this is a little bit throwback. So it's green tea with cherry and cacao. So the reviews have been really good. And the reviews actually, my inspiration was a cherry soda, but people were saying it tastes like a Dr. Pepper, which is really interesting. Have you tried it yet, Ray?
I'd be lying if I said I did, but I wanted to hold off until I spoke with you. So perhaps we can have a live tasting here. I can imagine it does taste like a Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper has those sort of chocolate and cherry notes associated with it. Yeah. While I'm opening my can, Kari, full disclosure, you have Minna as part of your portfolio.
That's right.
Tell us about why you picked this kind of a brand. Tell us about why you picked Minna to sell to your retailers.
I love Minna. As soon as I saw it, I was just drawn to it. The packaging's awesome. It's spot on for like you said, the generation right now and what we're doing in the category. Organic, unsweetened is huge right now as well. Like we don't want that extra sweetener. The taste is awesome. My team were hands down, they love the taste. Everybody gave a big high five on that one. So for us, it was a no-brainer when we saw the product, and we love working with the brand, and we're getting a lot of traction with it right now as well.
Were you most drawn to the concept of a sparkling tea, to the taste, and I know you talked about the entrepreneur as well, or the packaging? I mean, it's probably an easy answer to say, well, it's the full package, but what really drew you in most when it came to Minna? What did you see that could really resonate with the consumers at Whole Foods and beyond?
I mean, I really think it was unsweetened for me. Everybody's looking for, water is great. I love water. We love water, but sometimes you want something sparkling or something, a little different. And instead of having a soda, it's better to gravitate towards this. The taste is great. So it fills that need. That was what gravitated me, is the unsweetened and the packaging. The packaging's great.
Thanks, Kari.
Yeah.
So from a broker's perspective, and from someone who, you talked about this from the outset, that demos are so important, and for someone who's done them and knows how the value of doing demos at a time when it's harder to do them, how do you stand out? How do you help Minna to stand out on shelf when you can't do those demos?
For Minna, I would say couponing, like getting those coupons out there for people to try it. That's huge right now. Or VIP coupons, which is the free item coupon to get to your buyers at store level so they can try it and promote it to their customers. But just, couponing is a really big thing right now for beverage. Since you can't do demos, it's easy to throw on the coupons for those items.
And is it just as much, is it about having the coupons in store that, okay.
Yeah, in store. Our team goes out there every day, pounding the pavement, putting those coupons up.
Appreciate that.
I'm curious, Ryan, in terms of the category itself, the subsegment of sparkling teas are growing right now, but within the overall, iced tea category, it's still pretty small. But do you see yourself as part of the iced tea category, or do you see yourself as part of the sparkling water category, soda, or is it just, altogether new entirely?
I think it's an emerging category within the tea sector. I kind of see this as bringing some innovation to the tea space, bringing those velocity numbers from the sparkling water sector. Again, this company was kind of, well, it was really started for the fact that I thought a lot of the sparkling waters that I was tasting, of course, that were using essence or natural flavors, they often felt a little flat or a little fake. So that's really what this inspiration of this company came from. I was drinking all that stuff, the sparkling waters that is, and there was a cafe that was serving a hot brewed tea dumped over ice and topped with polar seltzer, and it was super refreshing. It was using real ingredients, and it was just a no-brainer. Why doesn't this exist in a larger way? So I think it's definitely a soda replacement. Again, as Kari said, there's no sugar, there's no sweeteners. It's using real ingredients, and so the flavor itself is actually authentic and real. And I think that this is something that we will see fill in, as you're saying. And I think our largest, the product's really great. You haven't tried it, like as Kari was saying, the flavor is delicious. I think that'll get the consumer to come back for us. I think additionally, as the sector fills up, I definitely want to make sure that we are right now working as a branding company, to like really get the messaging of our inclusivity causes, our sustainability aspects out there, so that when the section does fill up, that people know all the good that we're actually doing besides just being a good product on the shelf, that we're actually standing for the communities that we are in, and trying to really promote inclusion in the world. So I think that's hopefully a factor that I think the consumer will reach for us again. I'm hoping down the road.
Well, I'm going to reach for this right now. Let's see how it goes. Live tasting. I think it's the first time we've done this on the show. I'm spilling all over the place. If that's okay, they'll buy me a new computer. No, they won't. Let's see how it goes.
Pressure.
It is outstanding. It is like, I'm not surprised. And it does taste a little bit like a Dr. Pepper. So that's a good thing, because I do like Dr. Pepper, but I don't love the 70 calories per can that I probably get with every single one. Well done, Ryan, on the new flavor. Well done on Minna as a whole. I see great things going forward for the company, and hope to catch up with you again really soon.
Awesome. Thanks for having me again.
Ryan.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right. Fantastic stuff. Have you tried the cherry cacao yet, Kari?
No, I'm jealous again. Like I didn't try it yet.
I have a feeling you're going to be jealous one more time, because I know, I'm sorry. I realized that, I have a bunch of stuff in my pantry and in my refrigerator that I just haven't had a chance to taste yet. And then I saw the list of entrepreneurs that we're talking to today. I'm like, oh, great. I've got this. And our next entrepreneur, well, I've got some of his stuff too. That's Martin Hofstein, who is one of the co-founders of JAJA Tequila. How are you, Martin?
I'm doing well. How are you? Kari, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Great to see you once again, Martin. We had a Zoom call about 3 weeks ago about JAJA. Really interesting brand, interesting story behind the brand. For folks who aren't familiar, could you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, of course. So JAJA was, I guess, a brainchild of two of myself and two of my friends that we grew up together, Maurice DeBelli and Elliot DeBelli. Elliot founded F. Jerry, the media company, about 8 years ago. And tequila's always been, I guess, a part of our lifestyle, just growing up in New York City and going to bars and restaurants and nightclubs, which, this day and age seems so far-fetched. But, tequila's, we've always been around it, and we felt that the industry, really the spirits industry as a whole, was dominated by pseudo-luxe, more heritage type brands, and we wanted to create something that felt a little more fun, inclusive, something that popped off the shelf, something that really created a sense of community and lifestyle beyond what anyone else is currently doing. So that was kind of like what got us into tequila, and just being such a fan of the spirit, and as we started to learn more about it and how agave is farmed in the process, really fell in love with the community in Mexico, and really, took that to building a brand and company.
Where does the name JAJA come from again?
So JAJA means LOL. So, one of the things that we really focus on is not taking ourselves too seriously, being playful, self-deprecating humor, And, you know, that's kind of like, we believe everyone needs like a little vacation a little bit. And, you know, Haha is the brand that kind of brings people together in just like a fun and lighthearted way.
And you launched with a couple different expressions, and your most recent expression that you launched is, Kari, I apologize again, the añejo.
Cheers.
Cheers. There you go. I'm sorry, Kari.
Virtual cheers.
I'm going to send you this bottle because I feel bad. No, I can't.
Kari, I'll send you.
There you go. Okay. Tell us about the story behind the añejo, because I know it's near and dear to your heart.
Yeah. So I was traditionally a whiskey drinker, single malt Scotch, and I believe our añejo expression is loosely tied to that, right? So you think about the Blanco is the daytime, the Reposado is the evening, and the añejo is that nighttime. And you know, one of the things that we've really tried to do is really connect with different audiences, like outside the norm. And I think añejo is like both playful and serious at the same time.
Kari, obviously, you know, Green Spoon, you guys don't carry alcoholic beverages, but you know, I'm sure you could see in the same cart some of the products that we saw today and a bottle of Haha tequila. That being said, you know, what are some of the aspects of the brand that you've seen that can really resonate with the modern consumer as they are trying to do right now? And what are some of the things that you'd like to see more of? What do you think they could play up on their packaging or in terms of their positioning?
I love your packaging. I feel like it hits that free-spirited, like just having fun, relaxing vibe. Like I think I can't see them right now, but one of the packaging just feels like you're on vacation. Yeah, I love that. So I think you hit the mark right there. It feels like small batch crafted, like, you know, special. It has that special feeling. And like for me, just looking at your website, I got that from you guys right away, that it's just this really cool company that's free spirited and just wants to have fun. So good job on that for sure.
Thank you.
In terms of, you know, how it could appeal to a natural consumer, you know, some Whole Food stores do sell alcohol in them. Is there a way that, you know, you see sort of a cross promotion between some products and a Haha?
Yeah.
Is that something you see a lot of, you know, with the products that you represent?
For sure. I just talked to someone about an hour ago about the same thing. Yeah, like getting with like a really cool crafted tortilla chip, and like there's a lot of great ones out there right now. There's a lot of really cool salsas hitting the market too, and just like working together and like cross promoting each other is a really great way to do it, especially with Whole Foods.
Yeah, that's definitely a demo that I would attend. You know, for sure.
And by the way, Ray, we do that a lot actually. So we've teamed up with a lot of the different mixer companies, whether it's Fever Tree or Spindrift or Ripe. Yeah, to offer basically, you know, the buy one save on one, or you know, some types of different deals. Specifically now, as like consumer behavior is shifting a lot, bars, restaurants, nightclubs, hotels are obviously, it's just a different environment. You know, we see obviously retail and grocery chain sales are up tremendously, but people want to make drinks at home, and people want to, you know, experiment and create their own cocktails and almost bring, like, you'll never be able to duplicate the experience, I think, but I think bring it as close to possible, you know, from your couch. So we're definitely double downing on that as we start to continue to scale the grocery side of our business.
Yeah, for sure. You know, at home mixology, at home, you know, I guess cocktail preparation seems to be on the rise, and it seems to be something that's going to stick around for the time being. You know, the other interesting thing about your brand is that you're aligned with the Chainsmokers, the superstar DJ duo. How do you factor that? How does that factor into your branding and your marketing and promotion of the brand?
Yes, I mean, the Chainsmokers getting involved is an interesting story. So we know those guys for a long time, just growing up in New York City. And tequila's been such a big part of what they do every day. You know, normally they perform 200 to 300 times a year, and they're on stage with a bottle in hand. And really, the essence of the Chainsmokers, both from a music and personality perspective, is bringing people together, having fun, celebrating, which is, I mean, identical we've been trying to do with Haha. So when we got into a room and started to hang out and just talk and, you know, become friends, there was just so much synergy between what we wanted and what they were looking for, to the point where they invested in the company and they took a sizable ownership stake, and, you know, they operate the business with us on a day-to-day basis. So it's not a ambassador type role. It's not a influencer role. They're partners in the business, and yeah, they've become family over the last couple of months. So
very cool. Well, you know, I was saving opening this bottle for a special occasion. And I think today's a special occasion because we have you on the Elevator Talk live stream. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for having me. Of course.
I'm sure Kari will be getting a bottle.
Yeah, Kari, send me your address and I got you.
I will send it to you.
That'd be awesome.
All right,
Martin, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Great seeing you again. And let's catch up again soon.
Okay, cool. Bye.
Yeah. All right. That brings us to the end of the show with all the presenters having presented. But Kari, you know, we saw a pretty diverse range of brands in terms of size, scale, and positioning. You know, overall, you know, what are you seeing in terms of things that you really like out of these brands? And what are some of the things that you think they could all improve upon?
Well, I mean, for us at Greenspoon, we're so passionate about the space. Like our team is just live and breathe it every day. And it's exciting to see all these new brands always coming and innovation always coming down the pipeline. It makes our job so exciting. But these guys are all like thinking of unique ideas and ways to do different things in the category, which is so refreshing to see. So I just think that, you know, these entrepreneurs had really great ideas and just putting them in motion. You know, Minna is just hitting it on the head with the iced tea category. And then, you know, the allergy-free stuff was like the flavor profiles that they were coming up with were awesome. So I think people are just really, you know, thinking outside the box, which is so exciting.
It is indeed. And, you know, I think that's, you nailed it when you said that they're all coming to the market with innovative concepts, you know, whether it be in terms of flavor, in terms of, you know, a taste profile, a formulation, mission-based kind of company like Black Rifle. I mean, it's all pretty interesting to see how brands are really trying to stand out. If there's one thing that really moves the needle for you, you talked about it being, you know, the entrepreneur themselves. You know, when an entrepreneur is presenting to you, what do you want to hear from them first and foremost?
I mean, for me, it's really like doing it for the right reasons. You know, for us at Greenspoon, we just saw like, you know, the industry going one way, and we really wanted to go that, you know, stay true to what we're all doing this for. And so, like, for me, it's the entrepreneur who really wants to like bring better products to market, really is passionate about it, because that's how we are. And so we align really well then. So that's what I really look for, is for someone that's authentic, that really wants to make a difference.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of folks who would say they are making a difference, and they would love to get in touch with you. How do they do so?
Greenspoonsales.com, info@greenspoonsales.com. I get all those emails, so I would love to hear from them.
info@greenspoonsales.com. That's the way to get in touch with Kari. Kari, you've been so fantastic today. Thank you so much for joining us on the Elevator Talk live stream. We would love to have you back. Can we make that happen?
Yeah, I'm down anytime.
Fantastic. I love it. All right, folks watching at home, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back on the live stream next week, July 8th on Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern, as always. Signing off for our amazing team at BevNet and Nosh, and for our incredible co-host, Kari Adriana at Greenspoon. I'm Ray Latif. We'll see you next time.
See ya.